Okay, friends, let's get some solutions to this second part, financial math optional homework. Make it a little bigger so we can see it better. We did a lot of examples of these in the video lectures. So yeah, these are all find the average rates. So I'm gonna set the first one up. Let's come over here and let's create a new document. All right, so we'll set one up and then we'll use what we do on that first one to kind of streamline the other ones. Federal minimum wage started in 38 at 25 cents an hour, and then it was 7.25 an hour in 2015. We're going to figure out what the average rate of change was over that whole time period, assuming exponential financial growth, which I think makes a lot of sense. So let's see what we got here. We got 7.25 an hour. That started from 25 cents an hour. And I gave you a good-sized hint. We don't know what the rate is, question mark, but we're going to compound it 81 times from 38 all the way through. So using the math we did from class, the first thing we have to do is to divide both sides by that 25 cents. So our next line down here, actually I'm going to copy and paste. That'll keep the formatting the same. The first thing we're going to have to do is, give me a little bit of time here, I'm going to insert an equation. Put a fraction right here. 725 divided by 25. All right, there we go. There we go. Let's get rid of the 725. All right, and then that's going to equal something to the 81st power. And then we have to take the 81st root of this quotient right here. So that's where Word is going to fail me. So I'm going to write it in in actual words, 81st root of that. And then we're going to have to also subtract 1 from that because we're going to have that superfluous 1 on it. So I'm going to go ahead and use Google to do this. -1. I'll put the -1 here to stay in line with what we did in the videos. So I'm going to use Google. I'm going to divide 725 by 25 cents and then take the 81st root of it. So we're going to go right here. Let's get a window open. And I'm just going to simply type 81st root of, and then put it in parentheses for sure, because otherwise it's only going to try to take the 81st root of the first number, not the quotient. And then subtract 1, and we come up with that right there. So it's about 4.24%. About 4.24%. There you go. There you go, right there. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. That's what inflation of minimum wage was on average per year. So starting at 25 cents, going forward 81 years to 725, you would have to increase on average 4.24% per year. All right, the next question was, what did the economy actually do over the same time period? And I think I gave you a hint. I said, yeah, go January to January. It's okay if you didn't. Some of you didn't, I don't think. CPI calculator. Here we go, CPI Inflation Calculator. We're going to take 25 cents in January 1938. And we're going to go all the way through to January of 2020. Did I say 2020 or 2019? I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much. 2019. Yeah, because it's last full year. Okay, and it ends up being 443. And what's so cool about what we just did in Google is we can simply take this and replace that with 443. And it gives us our answer, about 3.6%. The only difference, they both started at 25 cents and they both went 81 years. All we've got to do is change the ending amount. So about 3.6% for number 2. So that means that minimum wage actually outpaced inflation, which I think is what I showed you. Let me find, here it is right here. That's what I showed you right here. Minimum wage is the blue dots, or are the blue dots, and the yellow dots are the inflation. And you can see almost immediately they began to outpace inflation. And you know, for many reasons, it's hard. I mean, we can look back and look at what average inflation was over 80 years, but while you're in the middle of setting things like minimum wages, you don't know, and you certainly can't knock it down once it's been up. So, I do find it interesting. It's got these cool little ramps like. And another way of looking at that is it was increased too much and then they tried to flatten it back. It was increased too much, they tried to flatten it back. It was increased too much. Curious to see what happens next. Hasn't changed since 2009, but we'll chase it down at some point. Okay, earliest COCC tuition I can find record of was 1990-91. That should say was. Apologies. There's a couple typos on this thing. I apologize. When it was $24 per credit, what is it now? This was an interesting question because when I typed this homework up, it was publicly available on the website that it was $106 per credit. Now that 106 is gone, replaced with 109 starting summer 2020. And a lot of you found the old tuition in the fact book at $99. So I accepted any one of those answers, 99, 106, or 109. At what average rate has COCC tuition inflated over that time period? Well, again, if you look back to the model we used before, I'll just use the $106. If it started at $24 and inflated to 106, and it went 29 years to inflate that, count the years up, you'll see it's 29. All you've got to do is repeat your math from before. So we're going to take the 29th root of 106 over 24. And then minus 1. So we can actually use the exact same Google window I did here and just change it. So it's the 29th root of $106. What I love about Google is it also takes care of the unit, which is pretty rad. So it looks like COC, if you used $106, it was 5.26%. If you used 109, it'll be a little bit more. It'd be 5.36%. And if you use 99, it'll be a little bit less. It's 5%, almost even, 5.01%. So any one of those is fine. It's about 5%. That's good enough, about 5%. Then I asked you to do, I can't find the CPI calculator. I have to go look for it again. I asked you to do inflation over the same time period. CPI Inflation Calculator. So if you start with $24 in September of 1990, and inflate it forward to September of 2019, it would be worth $46.44. So that's what, if you just follow economic inflation, it'd be $46.44, which means we can do the same kind of thing we did before. And economic inflation was only about 2.3%, which is less than half of a percentage of the percentage of what it actually was. So that was that. The fun thing was the extra credit. Which if anybody's interested and still wants to see, by all means, I don't want to record on the video here because it doesn't deviate too much from these questions up here, but it deviates enough that I don't want to chat about it now. But if anybody's interested, by all means, shoot me an email and I'll show you how to crank this extra credit in Excel. But there you go. That's our homework. I hope it helped, and we'll see you soon.